Kaylin Breyer felt very weak when she was inside the pharmacy. Her fingers were shaking and a small bottle of medicine slipped from her hand. Uh, Before she could fall to the hard, cold floor, everything around her turned black like the night. She did not hear the pills falling and rolling everywhere. She did not hear the pharmacist shouting in surprise. So she only felt darkness, like she was falling into a deep hole. But then two strong arms caught her gently. Someone held her before she hit the floor. 17 seconds later, Kaylin slowly opened her eyes. She saw a pair of bright blue eyes looking at her with worry and care. The man holding her wore a fancy suit that looked very expensive, maybe more expensive than her whole monthly rent. He held her like she was important. "Don't move," he said softly. His voice was warm and calm. "You are safe. The pharmacist is calling the ambulance." "No," Kaylin whispered. She tried to sit up even though her head felt heavy and her body felt weak. "No ambulance. I cannot pay for it. I'm fine." But she was not fine. She had not been fine for 3 months, 2 weeks, and 4 days. That was when the doctor told her she had a sickness that needed medicine. The sickness made her tired, scared, and sad every day. "You just fainted and fell," the man said gently. He still held her arm so she wouldn't fall again. Just that small touch made Kaylin want to cry because nobody had been this kind to her in a long time. "I need insulin," Kaylin said with a sad laugh. "But the medicine is too expensive now. I don't have money for it. So unless you have a miracle in your hand, I just need to stand up and figure out what to do next." Kaylin didn't want to cry, but tears came anyway. She cried in front of a stranger in a pharmacy at 3 in the afternoon on a normal Thursday. She felt like she had reached the lowest point of her life. The bright lights, the smell of hand sanitizer, the cold floor, everything felt like sadness. The man was tall, maybe 35 years old. His dark hair looked like it always stayed perfect. He looked at Kaylin like her words hurt his heart. "How much does the medicine cost?" he asked quietly. Kaylin wanted to say none of your business. She wanted to stand up, walk away, and pretend she was strong. But she was too tired to lie. $3,400, she whispered, "for only 3 months of insulin. My insurance won't pay for it. They say a cheaper medicine exists, but that one does not work for my type of sickness. So my choices are pay the money or die." The pharmacist came back with her phone. "The ambulance will be here soon." "Cancel it," the man said calmly. Then he looked at Kaylin. "My name is Stellan Rhodes. I am going to buy your medicine." "You don't even know me," Kaylin said weakly. "I know you need help." "That is enough," he replied. Kaylin shook her head even though it made her dizzy. "I can't let you do that. I don't take money from strangers. I don't take money from anyone. I work for what I have." "Then think of it like a loan," Stellan said. "Or don't think of it as anything. Just stay alive. I cannot leave here knowing you don't have what you need." There was something heavy in his voice, like he understood pain too. But how could a rich man in a perfect suit understand suffering? The pharmacist stepped closer. "If she won't go to the hospital, I must call the ambulance." "She is not refusing help," Stellan said softly. "She will get her medicine, and I will drive her home safely. Right?" He looked at Kaylin kindly, giving her a choice, even though there was only one real choice. "Why?" she whispered. "Why would you help a stranger like me?" Stellan was silent for a few seconds. When he finally spoke, his voice felt deep and real. "Because someone once helped me when I needed it the most, and maybe the universe brought me here for a reason." Kaylin then saw something surprising. Stellan's hands were shaking. This rich, calm man was also scared. Maybe not scared like she was, but scared in his own way. He was human after all. "Okay," she breathed. Stellan helped her stand up. Her head spun, but she stayed up. The pharmacist quickly put the insulin in a white bag and took Stellan's black credit card. He didn't even look at the price. He just paid. "I'll pay you back," Kaylin said softly. "Every single dollar. I don't know when, but I will." "We can talk about that later," Stellan said gently. His eyes looked warm, and they made Kalen's heart ache, but not from sickness, from something like hope. Right now, I only want to know you will be all right. I don't know if I will, she admitted. I lost my job 2 months ago, the one that gave me insurance. Now I do small delivery jobs. My money is gone. I can't pay rent. This medicine was my last chance before she gave up. I used to be a family therapist, she continued. I helped kids and families with sadness and problems for 6 years. But running my office became too expensive. I couldn't keep up, so I closed it. She laughed sadly. Turns out helping people doesn't pay well. Now I drive and deliver groceries. I had to stop helping families who needed me. That is not abandonment, Stellan said softly. You were surviving. The pharmacist handed the bag to Stellan, and he gave it to Kalen like it was special, like her life mattered. Let me drive you home, he said. You shouldn't stay alone today. You've done so much, she whispered. Maybe, he smiled. Or maybe this is only the beginning. Kalen looked into his blue eyes and felt something scary. Hope. She followed him out of the pharmacy into warm sunlight. The trees outside were covered with soft Spanish moss like long green curtains. People walked happily with sweet tea in their hands, not knowing her life had just changed. Stellan's car was shiny, black, and very expensive. He opened the door for her. I can take an Uber, Kalen said softly. I know, Stellan answered with a gentle smile. But you won't. You are tired of being alone, and maybe you want to know why a stranger helped you today. He was right. She sat in his car, holding the medicine like treasure. She wondered if he was her miracle or just another mistake. Could a life change because of one fall? One pair of arms? One moment of kindness? She hoped yes. As the car moved, Kalen realized she wanted to know more about this man, this Stellan Rhodes who saved her when she was falling, because anything was better than giving up. Soon they reached Mall apartment. The building looked old, broken, and tired, just like her life. Stellan didn't judge anything. He simply followed her upstairs and asked quietly, May I come in? Just for a minute? Her heart said no, but her soul whispered yes, so she let him in. Inside was small and simple, old furniture, a mattress on the floor, bills everywhere, and half-packed boxes. It showed how hard her life had become. This was supposed to be temporary, she said, but jobs are hard to find for someone like me. So temporary became permanent. Now I'm just trying to reach tomorrow. Tomorrow is a good goal, Stellan said kindly. He placed the medicine on her counter and then looked at her seriously. Kalen, I must tell you something. Her heart stopped. Was this the catch? Was there a price to kindness? Stellan took a deep breath. I was not in that pharmacy by accident, he said slowly. I was buying medicine too, for panic attacks. They started talking 6 months ago, after Stellan's father died. Stellan had taken over his father's company called Rhodes Development. It was a very big company. Many people knew the name. They built many tall buildings near the water in Charleston. The company was worth a lot of money. Billions. People read about it in business magazines. They saw the name at big fancy parties and on tall buildings in different states. You're that Stellan Rhodes, Kalen whispered. Yes, Stellan said with a little smile. But the smile was sad, not happy. People think I have everything. They think having money means life is easy and perfect. They think I never worry, but they're wrong. His voice trembled like he wanted to cry. I'm not okay at all. Stellan told her that his father worked very hard for 40 years to build the company from nothing. His father worked every day. Then one day he had a heart attack at his desk and died. Stellan became the boss. It was all his now. Every problem, every choice, every worker depended on him not to make a mistake. Stellan felt scared he would destroy everything his father built. He walked to the window and looked outside like the bricks could answer his questions. He said the panic attacks first came in meetings, then at dinner events, and later, alone at 3 a.m. when he couldn't sleep because he was afraid of failing. The doctor gave him medicine, but Stellan felt ashamed to take it. He thought he should be strong without help. Kaylin understood. She knew what it felt like to be sick, to need medicine but feel ashamed or weak. She knew how heavy that feeling was. "Why are you telling me this?" she asked quietly. Stellan turned around. His eyes were shiny with tears he hadn't let fall. "Because when I saw you fall yesterday, when I heard you say you could not afford your insulin, something inside me broke. I felt silly for feeling weak when I could easily buy my medicine. But you have to choose between staying alive and paying bills." It made me realize things clearly. "So I'm a reminder," Kaylin said. "Someone who has it worse than you?" "No." Stellan walked toward her slowly. He stood very close, close enough that she could see how tired his face looked. "You are the first real person I've talked to in 6 months. Everyone else wants something from me. They want money, deals, or my family name. You didn't want anything. You even fought me when I tried to help." He gave a soft, broken laugh. "You even tried to pay me back? Do you know how rare that is?" Kaylin felt her heart move in her chest, fast, warm, scary, but in a good way. He looked at her like she mattered, like she was important, like she was not just a sick woman with bills and a business that failed. "I should go," Stellan said, but didn't move. "And if I wanted you to know I'm not just a rich man trying to be a hero. I helped you because I needed to help someone. I needed to feel human again. Does that make sense?" "Yes," she whispered. "It does." They stood together in her small apartment. Two broken people. Two people who were hurting. But maybe this was the best moment for them to meet. Maybe they both needed someone to hold on to. "Can I see you again?" Stellan asked softly. It was a gentle question, a scary question. Stellan's voice was full of hope and fear. "I don't want anything from you. I just want to know you. The real you. The woman who helps people when they are sad. The woman who fights to stay alive every day." Kaylin knew she should say no. She had little money. She was sick. He was rich and famous. They lived in different worlds. But when she looked at him, she didn't see money. She saw someone drowning just like she was. Someone trying, fighting, hurting. "I have one condition," Kaylin said. "Anything. You let me buy you coffee, my treat, tomorrow morning. Cheap coffee from the shop down the street. No fancy stuff, just coffee that tastes like coffee." Stellan smiled. This time the smile reached his eyes, like sunshine after rain. "That sounds perfect. And you tell me about your father and about what it feels like to run a big company that was his dream, not yours." "Deal," Stellan said. Kaylin held out her hand. Stellan took it gently. A spark shot up her arm, a warm, surprising spark. "Tomorrow, 9 a.m. Meeting Street Coffee House. I will be there." Stellan squeezed her hand, opened the door, and paused. "Kaylin?" "Yes?" "Thank you for listening, for letting me help, for being you. You reminded me that being human is not weakness, it is brave." Then he left. Kaylin stood alone in her small room with her medicine beside her and her heart beating like a drum. Something big had changed. Life felt different now, like a new door had opened. She sat on her bed and picked up her phone. She searched his name. Pictures slowly loaded. Stellan in a suit cutting ribbons, Stellan meeting the governor, Stellan at a hospital wearing scrubs and holding the hand of a child. The caption said, "Rhodes Development CEO volunteers at the children's hospital where his late mother was treated." His mother, Kaylin clicked the article. Her heart hurt as she read. Stellan's mother died from diabetes. The same illness Kaylin had. Stellan couldn't save her. He was only 12. He must have felt so helpless, so broken. Kaylin pressed the phone to her chest. Tomorrow was not just coffee, it was something bigger. Two people drowning might learn to swim together. Outside her window, the church bells rang, the same bells that rang for years and years, for people who loved, who cried, who survived. Kaylin Breyer had always survived. But maybe tomorrow she could start living. Kaylin reached the coffee shop 15 minutes early, which meant she had 15 minutes to worry. She changed her clothes 4 times. She put on makeup, then wiped most off. She wanted to look nice, but not too nice. She sat in a small shop with mismatched chairs, plain mugs, no fancy pictures on drinks, just simple warm coffee. She bought 2 black coffees and sat in the corner. She peeked again at Stellan's photos. His mother was 31 when she died. Kalen was 33. That number felt like a ticking clock. "You look like you might run away," a voice said gently. She looked up. Stellan stood there, not in a suit, not like a billionaire, just jeans, a soft shirt, messy hair, tired eyes. Real. He held a paper bag. "I brought breakfast," he said, and sat across from her. Inside the bag were warm croissants from the fancy bakery she never entered. They smelled like butter and morning sunshine. "You didn't have to," Kalen said. "I wanted to," Stellan answered. He wrapped his hands around the coffee she bought. "This is perfect. The coffee, this place, you." Kalen blushed. "You can't just say things like that." "Why not? They're true." They sat in quiet for a moment, a soft, sweet quiet. "I looked you up," Kalen admitted. "I know about your mother." Stellan's smile faded. Not angry, just sad, the deep kind of sad that lives inside forever. "I thought you might see that?" He took a slow breath. "My mother died when I was 12. She had the same sickness you have. She didn't have enough insulin. She said she was okay, even when she wasn't. One day she collapsed. I found her. I called for help. I did everything they told me. But—" He swallowed, voice shaking. It was too late. Without thinking, Kalen reached across the table and held his hand. "When I heard you couldn't afford your insulin," he said quietly, "I saw her. I saw my mother all over again, and I couldn't let that happen to someone else. I couldn't let history repeat." "Is that the only reason you helped me?" Kalen asked softly. "Because I remind you of her?" Stellan lifted his eyes. They were bright and honest. "That is why I helped, but it is not why I came back. I'm here because when you talk to me, I feel real. You see me. Not money. Not the company. Just me." "Maybe I see you because I'm broken too," Kalen said. "Maybe," Stellan smiled. "Or maybe we are tired of being strong when we don't feel strong. Maybe we both need someone to understand." Kalen wanted to believe Stellan. She wanted to believe that everything could be okay, that life could get better, and that someone could really care for her. But she had learned something very hard in life. Just wishing for something did not make it true. She looked at Stellan and spoke in a soft, shaky voice. "You must understand something," she said. "I am not a broken toy you can fix. I am not your mother who gets another chance. I am just a woman who is very sick. I don't have a job. I don't have health insurance. My future looks very dark and scary. If you are here to save me like a superhero, then you should go, because I don't need saving. I need someone who sees me as equal, not someone who feels sorry for me." Stellan did not let go of her hand. His voice was warm like sunshine. "I don't think you need saving," he said. "I think you need what everybody needs. Someone who stands beside you. Someone who stays. Someone who doesn't run away when things are hard." "Things are already very hard," Kalen whispered. "Then they cannot get much harder, right?" Stellan joked. Kalen laughed even though she was sad. "That is terrible thinking," she said. "I know. I run businesses. I don't write wise quotes," Stellan said with a smile. He tore a piece of a warm, sweet croissant and gave it to her. "Eat. Then tell me about your work. Tell me about the families you helped. I want to know who you were before diabetes and bills tried to erase you." So Kalen told him. She told him everything. She told him about a father who lost his wife to cancer and did not know how to talk to his little girl about death. She told him about a teenage girl who watched her friend die in a car accident and became silent for 4 long months. She told him about an old couple who were married for 53 years and did not know how to live after their son died. "I helped them talk about their sadness," Kalen said. "I gave them a safe room where they could cry and feel broken without shame. I showed them that healing does not mean forgetting. Healing means carrying the pain without falling." "That is beautiful work," Stellan said. "Important work. It was important until I could not afford to keep doing it. Kaylin said. The sadness returned in her voice. Just, you can't help others when you are drowning. You can't care for someone else's pain when your own pain is screaming louder. Stellan was quiet for a long time. Then he asked gently, "What if you could do it again? What if you could rebuild your work? What if money didn't stop you?" Kaylin pulled her hand away quickly. "No, don't do that," she said. "Don't try to fix everything with money. I don't want that." "I am not fixing," Stellan said calmly. "I am asking, if money was not a problem, would you want to work as a counselor again?" Kaylin closed her eyes. "Yes," she whispered. "More than anything. But it is impossible. Offices cost too much." "What if you didn't need an office? What if you had a place for free?" Kaylin looked at him with wide eyes. "What do you mean?" Stellan leaned forward. Hope sparkled like a bright star in his eyes. "My company, Rhodes Development, rebuilt the old medical building on Calhoun Street. We are making it a community health center. Doctors, dentists, mental health helpers, all in one place. People will pay only what they can afford. It was my father's dream before he died." "That is amazing," Kaylin said slowly, still trying to believe it. "We need a grief counselor," Stellan said seriously. "Someone who cares more about people than money, someone like you." Kaylin's heart thumped fast, happy and scared. "You can't just offer me a job. You met me yesterday." "I cannot hire you myself," Stellan said, "but I can send you to the director. You are qualified. If you want, I will introduce you." "This is crazy," Kaylin breathed. "Maybe," Stellan smiled. "But is it wrong? You need work. We need someone with your heart. You want to help. We want to help people who cannot pay much. Why is that crazy?" "Because it felt like magic. Because life was never this kind. Because fairy tales were not real." But Stellan was looking at her like fairy tales were real. Like she was real magic. "I will think about it," she said. "That is all I want," Stellan replied softly. They finished their coffee slowly. They talked about books, childhood dreams, favorite places in Charleston. No talk about sickness, no talk about death, just two people sharing their hearts. Stellan told her about his father, a man who built everything from nothing. Kaylin told him about her grandmother who raised her after her parents died when she was 8. "That is why you became a grief counselor," Stellan said. "Yes, I knew what it was like to lose everything and still stand up again. I wanted to help others do that too." "And did you heal?" Stellan asked. Kaylin wanted to say yes, but honesty was better. "I thought I healed. I built my practice, I helped people, I believed I was okay. But then I got sick, and it felt like losing my parents all over again, like life was unfair and painful for no reason." "Do you still believe that?" Stellan asked softly. "I don't know what I believe anymore," she whispered. Stellan took her hand again. This time she didn't pull away. "I think sometimes bad things happen so we end up in the right place for something good," he said. "My father died and I learned what matters. You got sick and lost your job, and you were in that pharmacy when I was there. Maybe we were meant to meet." "That is a lovely thought," Kaylin said. "It is not a thought," Stellan said. "It is hope. I know hope is scary when life has hurt you. But what if this time things are real? What if we are exactly where we should be?" Kaylin wanted to believe him. Her heart hurt from wanting. "I should go," she said. "I have to work soon." "Can I see you again?" Stellan asked. "Tomorrow or later, whenever you want." "I don't know if that's smart." "Why not?" "Because I am falling for you," she thought. "Because you make me hope. Because I am scared." "It feels too good to be true," she said aloud. "And things that feel too good usually break." Stellan stood, walked around the table, and knelt beside her so their eyes met. "I'm scared too," he said softly. "Very scared, but I am more scared of walking away and wondering forever what if." Kaylin's voice was tiny like a whisper of wind. "Yes, I'll call you." "Promise?" "I promise." Stellan smiled and gently touched her cheek. Then he left, back to his big world of business and money. And Kaylin sat with cold coffee, warm bread, and a heart full of new hope. Her phone buzzed. A message. "It's Stellan. Now you have my number. Call when you're ready. I'll wait. Kaylin stared for a long time, then went to her delivery job, trying not to think of his blue eyes, his gentle hands, or the way he made her feel special. But she was thinking of him, because she was falling in love, slowly, softly, dangerously. Kaylin did not call Stellan for 3 days. She worked, picking groceries, driving people, crying at night. She kept hearing his words, "I'll wait." On the fourth day, her landlord knocked. "You are 2 months late," Mrs. Chen said kindly. "I cannot wait anymore. You must move out in 30 days. 30 days. No money, no home, no hope." Kaylin shut the door and fell to the floor, crying so hard her body shook. She cried deep, painful tears. Not movie tears, real ones. And without thinking, her fingers typed a message. "I need help. I hate needing help, but I do. I don't know who else to ask." Stellan replied in 30 seconds. "Send your address, I'm coming." Kaylin wrote, "You're busy." Stellan answered, "I don't care. Address. Now." She sent it. 20 minutes later, Stellan knocked. He was wearing his fancy suit, but his tie was messy like he ran out fast. He looked at her tear-stained face. He asked nothing. He just hugged her tight, strong and safe, and let her cry on his chest. "I got evicted," she sobbed. "I have 30 days. I can't do this alone. I act strong, but I'm not." "You are strong," Stellan said. "The strongest person I know, but being strong does not mean being alone." Kaylin looked up, eyes red. "I need that job interview. I need help. I hate needing it. I hate that you see me like this." Stellan held her face gently. "I see you real and human. Even broken, you're beautiful. Your pain does not make you weak. It makes you brave." Kaylin laughed a shaky, sad laugh. "You barely know me. 3 hours of talking, that's all. How can you care this much?" Stellan's voice became soft and raw, like truth. "Because I know what drowning feels like. I know how it feels when people tell you to swim harder instead of helping. I know what it feels like to need someone and be afraid to ask. And I know how it feels to meet someone who sees me, really sees me, and does not turn away." Kaylin swallowed hard. Her heart was full and scared. "You matter to me," Stellan said. "Not because you need saving, not because you remind me of anyone, but because you are you, and with you I feel less alone." Kaylin whispered, "I am a mess, sick, jobless, almost homeless. Why would you want me in your life?" Stellan smiled the softest smile, "Because with you I can stop being Stellan the CEO. I can just be Stellan, a man who gets scared, who takes medicine for panic, who misses his father. You let me be human, and I want to do that for you too." Kaylin and Stellan stood in her doorway. They were both tired and hurt, but they were holding each other up. For the first time in many months, Kaylin felt like she might not be alone anymore. "I'll call the wellness center director," Stellan said. "We'll set up an interview for next week. But Kaylin, you need to know something. This isn't me giving you a job. I'm just introducing you to someone who needs your help. You'll have to earn it yourself." "I know," Kaylin said. "And what about my rent?" "No," she said quickly. "I can't let you pay my rent. That's too much." "That's what I was going to say," Stellan interrupted gently. "P.S. Development owns some furnished apartments we use for work. Most of them are empty. You could stay in one for a while, just until you get back on your feet." "That's still you helping me," Kaylin said. "No," Stellan said. "I'm offering you an empty apartment that isn't being used anyway. You'd actually be doing me a favor. We have to pay utilities whether someone lives there or not." Kaylin wanted to argue. She wanted to hold on to her pride. But pride hadn't kept her off the streets. She was too tired to fight. "Just until I can afford my own place again," she said quietly. "However long you need," Stellan said. "And I'm paying you back, all of it. The insulin, the apartment, everything." Stellan smiled. "We'll talk about that later. Right now, pack a bag. I'm taking you to see the apartment, then I'm buying you dinner, and then we'll talk about what comes next. You need to rest and think about work later. Your company is more important than your housing problem." "No," Stellan said firmly. "It's not. You matter. And the sooner you understand that, the easier everything will be." Kaylin looked at him. This man had walked into her life just 4 days ago and changed everything. He looked at her like she was someone special, someone worth helping. "Okay," she whispered. The apartment was in an old building downtown. It had high ceilings, shiny wooden floors, a kitchen with real counter space, and nice furniture. The windows looked over a garden. It was beautiful. Too beautiful. "I can't accept this," Kaylin said, but her voice was weak. "You already did," Stellan said, setting her bag down by the door. "Welcome home. Temporarily." Kaylin walked around, touching things carefully as if they might disappear. A real bed, a couch that didn't sag, a bathroom with water that came out strong, things she had taken for granted before her life fell apart. "Why are you doing this?" she asked. "Really? What do you get out of helping me?" Stellan joined her by the window. Outside, the sun made the city glow gold. "Do you want the truth?" he asked. "Always," Kaylin said. "I do this because I have more money than I could ever spend, and most days I don't know what to do with it. I give it to charity events or building projects, but that doesn't really change anything. But helping you, really helping you, that matters. You matter. Maybe I'm being selfish, maybe it's because helping you makes me feel better about myself, but I don't care. I'd rather be selfish and help you than be selfless and watch you suffer." Kaylin's eyes filled with tears. That was the most honest thing anyone had ever said to her. "I promised you honesty," Stellan said, "even when it's ugly." "It's not ugly," Kaylin said. "It's human." "See?" Stellan smiled. "This is what you do. You take broken things and find the beauty in them. That's your gift, Kaylin. That's what you do for your clients, and now that's what you're doing for me. I'm not trying to fix you." "I know. That's why it's working," Kaylin said. They watched the sun set over the city. Kaylin realized something scary. She was falling in love with Stellan. Not the billionaire, not the CEO, just the man who caught her when she fell and kept showing up even when she tried to push him away. "Stay for dinner," she said suddenly. "I can't cook anything fancy, but I make decent pasta. It feels weird being in this apartment alone." Stellan's face lit up. "I'd love that." They cooked together. Stellan chopped vegetables while Keelan boiled pasta. They moved around each other like they had done it 1,000 times. They drank cheap wine that Kaylin bought with her last $20. They laughed about everything and nothing. For a few hours, Kaylin forgot about being sick, about rent, about everything. She was happy, but happiness never lasted. Her phone rang. An unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but she did. "Is this Kaylin Breyer?" a woman's cold, professional voice asked. "Yes," Kaylin said. "This is Gwendolyn Sharp from Lighthouse Insurance. I'm calling about your insulin claim, the one that was denied last month. Good news. Your appeal was approved. We'll cover your insulin from now on." Kaylin's stomach dropped. "What? But you said there was a cheaper alternative." "The board reviewed it again after receiving more documents from your doctor. Your coverage is reinstated immediately. You'll get new insurance cards in 7 to 10 days. "I don't understand," Kaylin said. "I didn't submit anything new. My doctor said there was nothing else he could do." The documents were submitted by Dr. Alistair Thornton from Charleston Medical. "Is he not your doctor?" "No, I've never heard of him." Stellan went still. Kaylin looked at him. He looked guilty. "You did this," she whispered. "It wasn't a question," Stellan said. "I hired a doctor to write a letter to your insurance. I went behind your back. I wanted to help you because I couldn't stand to watch you suffer." "You went behind my back?" Kaylin said, shaking. "I told you I don't want to be your project. I want to handle things myself. You paying my insulin was okay because I had no choice. The apartment was okay because I almost had nowhere to live. But this is too much. You treated me like I can't make decisions for myself. You made me small. I can't accept that." "I'm sorry," Stellan said, looking devastated. "I thought I was helping. I thought I knew better." "I can't be with someone who doesn't trust me to save myself," Kaylin said, grabbing her bag. "Leave." Kaylin walked out. She made it 3 blocks before her tears blinded her. Loving Stellan Rhodes felt like a mistake she couldn't fix. That night, she stayed on her friend Juno's couch. Juno had been her college roommate, the one person who had stuck by her through everything. "You want to talk about it?" Juno asked. "I met someone," Kalen said. "Someone incredible, impossible, and completely wrong for me. The billionaire from the pharmacy. He went behind my back to fix my insurance. He thought he was helping, but all he did was show he sees me as someone who can't handle her life." Juno was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Did you ever think maybe he wasn't trying to control you? Maybe he was just fixing the one thing he could fix because he couldn't bear watching you suffer?" "That doesn't make it okay," Kalen said. "No, it doesn't, but it makes it human. You've been alone since you were 8. You lost your parents. You learned to depend on only yourself. That worked before, but now you're sick and scared and you push people away who want to help. You're afraid of being weak, so you see help as control. But maybe he just cares. Maybe he's just trying to love you in the only way he knows how." Kaylin pulled the blanket tighter around herself. "What if I let him in and he hurts me? What if I trust him and he decides I'm too hard to handle? What if? What if he doesn't?" Mir interrupted her thoughts. "What if he's really a good man? What if he's trying his best but sometimes makes mistakes? What if you're about to give up something real just because you're scared?" Kaylin shook her head. "I don't know how to take risks anymore. I'm barely getting by." "Then maybe it's time to do more than just survive," Mir said. "Maybe it's time to actually live." Kaylin thought about that all night. She thought about Stellan's face when she told him to leave. She thought about how he had held her when she cried. She thought about how he said, "You matter to me," and meant it with his whole heart. She thought about what her friend Maya had said about the difference between someone trying to control you and someone trying to love you. Was Stellan really trying to love her? And if he was, had she just pushed away the best thing that had happened to her in years? The next morning, Kaylin did something she hadn't done in months. She called her old teacher and mentor, Dr. Serafina Rodriguez, who had helped her through school and start her counseling business. "Kaylin," Dr. Rodriguez said warmly, "I've been wondering how you are." "Not great," Kaylin admitted, "but maybe getting better. I need advice, and you're the only person I trust to tell me the truth. Always. What's going on?" Kaylin told her everything. The pharmacy, Stellan, the insulin, the apartment, the insurance tricks, the fight, everything. She let it all out in one long confession. Dr. Rodriguez listened quietly, just like she had taught Kaylin to listen to her clients. When Kaylin finished, there was a long pause. "Can I ask you something?" Dr. Rodriguez said. "And I need you to think about it carefully." "Okay. Are you angry because Stellan went behind your back, or are you angry because letting someone help makes you feel weak, and you've always thought being weak means being abandoned?" Kaylin felt like she'd been hit. She stopped, then tried to speak. "Both, maybe. I don't know." "I think you do know," Dr. Rodriguez said gently. "You know Stellan made a mistake, but you also know his mistake came from caring about you. And maybe you're using that mistake as an excuse to run away before you get hurt. That's not fair, is it?" Kaylin's eyes stung. "What if I don't know how to let someone in? What if I've forgotten?" "Then you learn," Dr. Rodriguez said. "One day at a time, one choice at a time. You feel scared and do it anyway. That's what you tell your clients, isn't it?" "Yeah. So tell me, if one of my clients was in this situation, what would I say?" Kaylin closed her eyes and thought about all the people she'd helped through sadness, trust issues, and the fear of being vulnerable. "I'd tell them love is a risk," Kaylin said slowly. "You can't protect your heart by keeping it closed. People who love you might make mistakes. That doesn't mean they don't care. It just means they're human. And running away doesn't keep you safe. It just keeps you alone." "Exactly," Dr. Rodriguez said. "Now you just have to believe that advice applies to you too." After they hung up, Kaylin sat on Maya's couch for a long time. She thought about Stellan catching her when she fell, how he shared his struggles without making her feel small, and the panic in his eyes when she walked away. She thought about all the calls and messages she had ignored out of fear. Finally, she opened her phone. His messages were full of apologies. I was wrong. Please let me explain. I miss you. I understand if you don't want to see me, but I need you to know I was wrong. I wasn't treating you as an equal. I'm learning. I promise I'm learning. Please give me another chance. I'll be at the coffee shop all day if you want to talk. I'm not giving up on us. Kaylin stared at the words until they blurred. I'm not giving up on us. Us? Like we're real? Like I matter enough to fight for? When was the last time someone fought for her? When had she let them? She grabbed her coat and headed for the door. Where are you going? Maya called. To take a risk, Kaylin said. Maya grinned. Finally, go get your billionaire. He's not mine yet. Stellan sat at the same table where they had their first real talk. 2 coffee mugs sat in front of him. He looked awful, tired, messy, like he hadn't slept. But the hope in his eyes nearly made Kaylin melt. Hi, she said, sitting across from him. You look terrible, Stellan said. So do you. I guess that's what happens when you spend all night thinking about how badly you messed up. You did mess up, Kaylin said. I know, I'm sorry. You were right. I wasn't treating you as an equal. I was trying to save you because I couldn't save my mother, and that wasn't fair. You're not her. You're not a project. You're not a problem to fix. He reached across the table but stopped, giving her the choice. You're strong and capable. You've been fighting hard to survive, and instead of trusting you to do that, I tried to control things. That was wrong. That was fear, not love. Kaylin took his hand. Why did you do it? Because watching you struggle hurt me, he said. I have money and power, but they don't fix what really matters. My dad is still gone. I'm still scared. Helping you felt like something I could fix, something I could control. But I see now, I was trying to control, not help. That's not love. That's fear. Love. Kaylin's heart jumped. Yeah, love. I know it's soon. I know we barely know each other, but I'm falling for you, Kaylin. Losing you scares me more than anything. Kaylin couldn't breathe. She only felt. I'm falling for you too, she whispered, and it terrifies me. Everyone I've loved has left. My parents died, my grandmother died, my clients left. Loving people always felt like losing them. I'm not going anywhere. I can't promise I'll be perfect, but I promise I'll show up every day. I'll listen when I mess up. I'll work to be the partner you deserve, not the savior you don't need. Partner, Kaylin said. The word felt heavy and good. If you'll have me, if you're willing to take a chance on a broken billionaire who's learning to be human. Kaylin thought about everything Maya and Dr. Rodriguez said. She thought about the difference between running away and standing still. She thought about how Stellan spent all night at a coffee shop waiting for her. She thought about how he held her when she cried and didn't try to fix her, just let her be. I have conditions, she said. Anything, he said. You never go behind my back again. If you want to help, ask first. Trust me to make my own choices. You let me help you too. It can't be one-sided. We share everything. Panic attacks, fear, grief, all of it. We are equals or we are nothing. I can do that, Stellan said, his voice thick. And one more thing, Kaylin said. You take me on a real date. Not coffee, not crisis. A real date. Dress up. Be normal people who are falling in love, Stellan laughed. I can do that. When? Tonight, 7. Pick me up at Maya's. It's a date, he said, standing and hugging her so tight she could feel his heartbeat. Thank you for another chance. I won't waste it. You better not. I don't have enough heart left to break again. Then I'll make sure it stays whole. They stood in the coffee shop, holding each other like they were the only 2 people in the world. And maybe, for that moment, they were. 2 broken people learning to heal together. 2 scared people learning to be brave. 2 lost souls who found each other at just the right time. I love you, Stellan whispered into her hair. I love you too, Kaylin whispered back, happy tears in her eyes. 7, he said. Don't be late. I wouldn't dare. Stellan kissed her forehead and left. Kaylin stood there with cold coffee and a racing heart, knowing she had done the scariest thing ever. She had chosen to hope, to risk, to love. Tonight, she would see if that choice would save her or hurt her. But either way, she wasn't alone anymore, and that had to count for something. What will happen on their first real date? Will Stellan's busy work life make things hard? And will Kaylin's job make her face whether she can accept Stellan's help without losing herself? Stellan came to pick up Kaylin at 7 on the dot. This time, he wasn't in his usual sleek black car. Instead, he drove a beautiful old convertible, the color of dark red wine. You have so many cars? Kaylin asked as she slid into the passenger seat. I have 12, Stellan said with a smile. I know it sounds crazy, but my dad loved classic cars. After he died, I couldn't sell them. Now I have a garage full of cars I hardly drive, but each one holds a memory of him. That's not crazy, Kaylin said softly. That's love. Stellan smiled. See, you always make me feel better. You take my guilt and turn it into something human. It's human, Kaylin said. Grief doesn't have a time limit. Your dad has been gone 6 months. You can hold on to pieces of him. My business partner says I should sell them because they just sit there losing value, Stellan said. And your business partner doesn't understand that some things are worth more than money, Kaylin replied. Stellan reached over and took her hand. I really love you. You know that? You mentioned it, Kaylin said with a grin. Where are we going? She asked. It's a surprise, Stellan said. They drove through Charleston as the sun went down, painting the city in gold and pink. They passed Rainbow Row with its colorful houses, the harbor with boats floating gently, and old churches with tall steeples that had been there for hundreds of years. Stellan stopped at a private dock. A small boat waited for them, decorated with fairy lights. You're kidding, Kaylin said. I promised you a real date, Stellan said. This is as real as it gets. The boat was perfect. There was a table for 2 on the deck, candles that didn't blow out in the wind, and a delicious-smelling meal. But most of all, it was private. Just them, the water and the city lights reflecting on the harbor. This is beautiful, Kaylin said as they sat down. You're beautiful, Stellan said softly. I wanted tonight to be special. I wanted you to know that you matter to me, that us matters. I'm scared, Kaylin admitted. Happy scared. The kind of scared that means something real is happening. I don't know how to protect myself from it. Good, Stellan said. I'm scared too. Let's be scared together. They ate slowly, just talking about everything and nothing. Stellan told her about his father's last project, the wellness center where Kaylin would have her interview next week. His dad wanted to create a place that helped people, not just made money. He grew up poor, Stellan said. His mother died when he was 15 because they couldn't afford cancer treatment. That stayed with him. At first, he wanted money to fix everything. But in the end, he realized money only matters if you use it to help people. That's why you do all this, Kaylin said. The wellness center, the charity work. You're finishing what your dad started. Yes, Stellan said. I want to make him proud. I want his life to mean something. Kaylin reached across the table and took his hand. Your father would be proud of you. Not because of the money or the buildings, but because you're a good man who cares about people. That's what matters. That lasts. Stellan smiled, his eyes bright. How do you always know what to say? I was a therapist for 6 years. It's my thing, Kaylin said with a laugh. They laughed together. It felt easy and natural, like they had known each other for years, instead of just days. As the boat drifted in the harbor, Stellan stood and held out his hand. Dance with me. There's no music, so we'll make our own. Kaylin let him pull her to her feet. They swayed under the fairy lights, with nothing but the sound of water and their hearts beating together. I need to tell you something, Stellan said quietly. About your interview next week. Kalen tensed. If you already told them to hire me. I didn't, Stellan said quickly. I swear. But Dr. I sold Kim, the director, is tough. She only cares if you're the right person for the job. So if you don't get it, it's not your fault. It's on me for recommending you. But I think you'll do amazing. Kalen relaxed. Thank you for trusting me with this. Stellan kissed her forehead. No matter what happens, we're good. Us, separate from work. Kalen nodded. We'll set boundaries, keep work separate. Whatever we need to do, we'll do it. I'm not giving up on us. They danced until the boat returned to the dock. The night grew cool and the city grew quiet. When Stellan drove Kalen back to her apartment, he walked her to the door. Thank you for tonight, Kalen said, for everything. The date, the honesty, the trust, for seeing me, for believing I could be better. Stellan cupped her face and kissed her softly. A kiss full of promise, new beginnings, and second chances. I should go in, Kalen whispered. You should, Stellan said, but I don't want to. Me neither. But we have time, all the time in the world. Okay, Kalen said. Tonight we just believe that good things are possible, that love is real, that we found each other for a reason. Kalen kissed him one more time. Good night, Stellan Rhodes. Good night, Kalen Breyer. I'll see you tomorrow. You will? If you'll have me, I'll have you, Stellan said. He watched her safely inside and drove away. Kalen stood in her apartment hallway, feeling like her whole world had become brighter. 3 weeks later, Kalen got the job. Dr. Isolde Kim interviewed her for 2 hours, asking tough questions and making her solve real problems. At the end, she said, "You're hired. Not because Stellan recommended you, but because you're exactly what this center needs. Welcome aboard." Kalen started her new job the next Monday. She had her own office and a caseload of families who needed help dealing with grief, trauma, and loss. She helped a widow live after 40 years of marriage, helped a teenager cope with his father's suicide, helped a family who lost a child. Every day she remembered why she became a therapist. Healing was possible. People were strong. Hope was real, even in the darkest times. Stellan kept his promise. He showed up every day, texted her good morning, met her for lunch when she could, and held her when work got heavy. He went to therapy for his anxiety, started medicine that helped, and learned to share his work so he didn't carry everything alone. Day by day, they built something real, not a fairy tale, just two people learning to be whole together. 6 months later, Kalen moved into her own apartment, a small place she could pay for herself. Stellan helped her move boxes. That night, they celebrated with takeout, cheap wine, and long talks about the future. "I'm proud of you," Stellan said. "For rebuilding my life," Kalen said. "I did it myself, but you helped. Maya helped. Dr. Rodriguez helped. Needing people doesn't make me weak. It makes me human." Kalen laughed. "Look at you, talking about your feelings instead of panicking. We're a mess, but we're getting better." Stellan pulled her close. "I love you, Kalen Breyer. I love your strength. I love your stubbornness. I love how you make me want to be better. I love that you challenge me and see me. I love you." "Even though you still own 12 cars?" Kalen whispered. 11. "I sold one." "Progress," Stellan said with a smile. They sat in her new apartment, in her new life, and in the relationship they built. Kalen realized she wasn't just surviving anymore. She was living, with work that mattered, hope that felt safe, and a man who always caught her when she fell. "What are you thinking?" Stellan asked. 6 months ago, I thought I'd lost everything," Kalen said. "Now I'm thinking about next year, next decade, all the years we could have if we keep showing up for each other." Stellan smiled. "I like that sound." Outside, Charleston's church bells rang, marking another hour in a city that had seen centuries of survival and love. Inside, Kalen and Stellan sat wrapped in each other's arms, grateful for pharmacy floors, falling down, and strong arms that never let go. Sometimes the best love stories start with an ending. Sometimes you have to lose everything to find what you really need. Sometimes fainting in a pharmacy leads to forever. 1 year later, Stellan proposed in the same pharmacy where they met. He set up flowers and candles, got on one knee by the insulin shelf, and said, "This is where my life began. Not money, not success, just being here for someone who needs you. Just love." Kaylin cried and laughed, saying yes before he even finished. They kissed in front of the pharmacist who had watched their story from the start. "This is insane," Kaylin said. "I love it. I love you." And as they walked out, engaged and happy, Kaylin thought of that Thursday a year ago, how fainting in a pharmacy brought her to Stellan Rhodes, who never let go. Sometimes the worst moments lead to the best ones. Sometimes hope and love really are possible.